Welcome to the Relax and to Love podcast, the place for spiritual, ambitious women to awaken to divine connection within themselves and their partner and manifest their most desired relationship with joy and ease. I'm Teal Elizabeth, your host, a spiritual love and relationship coach trained in the principles of feminine energy, NLP, and deep subconscious reprogramming. And through this podcast, it is my desire to inspire you on all things dating, relationships, and self-love. Now, on to the show. Hey babes! I wanted to come on today to talk about the 4 different types of women that we can choose to be in the world. And this is something that I love to kind of introduce as a topic when I get on calls with women that are really trying to discover how to really step into their feminine energy. Because a lot of times when we operate in the world, we come into the world without actually being very intentional about our presence and our energy. We don't really show up very intentional with our presence. And a lot of times when we come into like the work world or into relationships, we tend to show up just based on how we've been operating our whole life, right? So that can be very much, for most of us, being in a place of our masculine energy. And if you're familiar with this concept of masculine and feminine energy, I'll just kind of introduce it a little bit. Masculine energy is typically thought of as being much more of a leaning forward, protruding, strategizing in our minds, controlling, wanting to push things forward kind of energy. And this is a really, really powerful energy to step into when you're being an ambitious boss babe like many of you are. And in the workplace, this is a really, really powerful place to step into becoming and using this very driving energy force to get shit done, right? But what we don't recognize is that lots of times we take this same kind of energy, this planning, strategizing in our minds, in our heads, wanting to move things forward and bring that into relationships with men. And we try and look at relationship like another project to check off the list, right? Yeah. And when we look at relationships like a project to check off the list to achieve and get done, we actually end up sabotaging the entire thing. And this is where I want to really break it down and just say to all of you listening here that if you have been approaching relationships like you have been your business or your career, more times than not, that is going to have an adverse effect. It's going to have a backlash. And the reason for that is because that kind of energy is a very male-dominated energy. And if we want to attract a male energy type of man, it's like butting heads. It literally is like coming together with another man and bringing 2 masculine energies into a relationship and they butt heads. So when I see some likes or some comments, if this is resonating for you, if you have maybe experienced this for yourself, maybe you've been butting heads with men and not knowing why, just give me a little thumbs up. Because this is a really, really common thing that I see as being an ambitious woman. We've never actually been taught how to be a woman in relationships. So being a woman in relationships, I don't want you to think that, stepping into your feminine energy, that you have to go and be a 1950s housewife and we have to be weak and submissive, right? And settle or completely give up our control. That's not what this is about. And I know that a lot of times feminine energy can kind of get that idea and that principle of, well, I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be emotional. I don't want to be needy or clingy. And this was totally me back in the day. Totally me. I was I still am, a very ambitious woman, always setting goals that I want to achieve. And I never wanted to be thought of as being that emotional, needy, clingy woman. And so I really shied away from feminine energy. And I was like completely like, no, I'm going to prove to the world that I don't need a man, right? I'm independent. I can take care of myself. I don't need a man. But that exact same energy is actually what was pushing men away. And was actually putting out this message, literally and physically, that I don't need anyone, and like a wall, right? And so when we talk about the 4 different types of women that you get to choose to be, that's kind of what I want to talk about, this concept. The type of woman that you get to choose to be intentionally in a relationship, there's 4 types, and I'm really curious to hear what kind you think you are at this moment. So the first type is being very soft on the inside and soft on the outside. And so these are women that are your damsels in distress. They are very kind of, woe is me, come rescue me, maybe feeling just very insecure and very unsure of themselves. Lots of times they play into their ditzy side or just pretending like they need someone to take care of them, right? That's kind of that soft on the inside, soft on the outside. Then you have the ultimate other extreme, and that is the strong on the inside, strong on the outside. And this is what I always joke about, is kind of like more of the extreme feminist type of women. Not to say there's anything wrong with feminism. It's a really, really powerful energy, but it can be a little bit abrasive when it comes to a loving relationship and trying to connect with men. Because basically it's this vibe of, I don't need men. I'm fine on my own, like fuck men, we're good, you know? And so that's not the energy that we want to embody when we're trying to connect with men. So then there's a third type of way of being as an intentional woman, and that is being very strong on the outside, but being still soft on the inside. Maybe still feeling a little insecure, feeling unsure about how to really own your presence and own your power, but you're going to prove to the world that you're fine and that you can take care of yourself, right? And a lot of women I notice fall into this category, and that's where I fell too for a while. It's just a very strong strength on the outside, but it serves as a protection mechanism around your heart. And it doesn't actually allow for men to be able to come in and see your heart. Because if they did see your heart, it's very like guarded and protected, and it's fragile, right? And so there's one more type of way of being a woman in the world. And this is really what I help cultivate women to step into being. And this is about inverting that strength on the outside and bringing it into your core center. Stepping into really having that strength on the inside and being soft on the outside. And that is the biggest difference in shifting the way that everyone, and men especially, receive you in the world, is coming from this place of a very grounded center and strength of, I know I can take care of myself, I know I'm worthy, I know I'm loved, but I am allowing myself to actually open my heart and allow people in, and I'm open and able to receive, because I know that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay, right? But you don't have to prove that, you don't have to show that, you don't have to put up walls in case people don't get that. You just are it. You just exude it. And that's the type of woman that I really inspire and encourage you to really consider stepping into. Because when you move into that place, it is so powerful. It is so powerful in the terms of just having men be able to receive you in a different way, because you're actually more approachable, right? But it's also just a beautiful place because it opens up so many doors and channels for other things to flow into your life. When you really are able to lean back and just let down all those spikes and guards and walls that you've been trying to prove and protect yourself, and just really relax into that feminine strength and that feminine power that is within you. Right? So I'm seeing lots of thumbs up, lots of likes, lots of loves. Oh, good. I'm so glad this stuff is resonating with you, because this is the basis of all my work, is really taking down the walls, going within, really going through the deeper layers of yourself and understanding what's been holding me back from allowing me to just relax into love and just relax into being me. So that I don't have to try so hard, so that I don't have to look at relationships like another to-do list, that I can literally just level up into this beautiful being that I am as a feminine goddess, while still being able to apply my masculine energy to my work world, right? And flow between both. Flow between being your goddess self and being very soft and nurturing and strong when you're in relationships, but also being able to just put on that like ambitious go-getter hat and go and just build your empire at the same time. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today. Give you some food for thought for the week, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Relax Into Love podcast. If you are loving what you're hearing, please, I would love for you to write me a heartfelt review. It means so much for the success of this podcast. And honestly, I love hearing what really hits home for your soul. And the feedback, really, I read every piece of it. So definitely pop me a love note and share this with a friend. Share this with someone who you know could really use this message today. And let's keep spreading the love. Until next time.